Trump's hunger for Ukraine's rare earth elements. We've seen Trump practically salivating over one particular issue in his Ukraine policy: rare earth elements. He openly stated, "In return for the support we've given Ukraine, I want its rare earth elements to compensate for the money we've spent." But when discussing an enormous sum like $500 billion, one has to ask, are these rare elements truly valuable enough to justify that amount? Why does Trump want them so badly? Did he have to back down from a trade war with China in the past because of these elements? What exactly are rare earth elements, and how much of them does Ukraine actually have? Today, we'll answer all these pressing questions, so let's get started. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, turn on notifications, and subscribe to our channel. It's completely free. A trade war that quietly ended. Back in 2019, when Trump was still president, he launched a trade war against China. He believed he had a strong hand to play, but the tensions suddenly de-escalated. Why? Because China issued a silent but powerful threat. At the time, the People's Daily, the official newspaper of the Chinese Communist Party, hinted that rare earth elements could be used as a weapon in the trade war. Shortly after, the U.S. Department of Commerce released a report warning that if China or Russia halted rare earth exports, the U.S. economy would take a devastating hit. After these warnings, Trump dialed back his aggression and softened his approach, though the real reason for his retreat wasn't widely discussed. Now, 6 years later, Trump is back and has hinted that he would leave Ukraine on its own if he returned to power. During his campaign, he famously declared, "I will end this war in 24 hours. But to do that, he would either have to defeat Russia entirely or abandon Ukraine. And realistically, abandoning Ukraine is the more feasible option. But Trump isn't just backing out. He's also demanding repayment for all the money the U.S. has spent on Ukraine. And how does he want to be paid? By gaining complete access to Ukraine's rare earth elements and other natural resources, including a $500 billion extraction deal. Of course, Ukraine rejected this demand, but Trump remains persistent, especially when it comes to rare earth elements. What are rare earth elements? Rare earth elements refer to 17 specific elements found in the Earth's crust. While they aren't necessarily rare, they are difficult to extract and rarely found in pure form. They are often mixed with radioactive elements like thorium and uranium, making the extraction complex and expensive. Separating them requires toxic chemicals and extensive processing. But why are these elements so valuable? Because they are essential for modern technology, including smartphones, computers, electric vehicles, advanced military aircraft, satellites, and AI infrastructure. In short, if you want to develop cutting-edge technology, you need these elements. Now, it's easy to see why Trump is so obsessed with Ukraine's supply. How much does Ukraine have? Ukraine isn't just rich in rare earth elements, it has a wealth of underground resources. Out of the 30 critical raw materials designated by the European Union, 21 are found in Ukraine. In fact, Ukraine holds 5% of the world's total reserves. However, there are two major issues. 1. Many of these deposits are not yet proven to be economically viable. 2. Most of these resources, around 70%, are in Donetsk and Luhansk, currently occupied by Russia. This means Russia currently has control over Ukraine's most valuable resources, including lithium, another key mineral used in battery production. So, even if Ukraine wanted to extract and sell these elements, they currently can't access the majority of them. The real reason behind Trump's demands. We are entering a new era, and the dominant power in this century will be the nation that leads in technology, economy, and military innovation. But to develop AI-driven technologies, rare earth elements are absolutely essential. For example, dysprosium, a critical rare earth element, is crucial for electric motors, wind turbines, and magnetic generators. And here's the problem for the U.S. 36% of the world's rare earth reserves are in China. The U.S. controls only 1.2%. China dominates 90% of global rare earth processing, Even worse, China refines most of the rare earth elements that the U.S. extracts from its own land. If China stopped exporting processed rare earths tomorrow, major U.S. tech and defense industries would collapse. To put this into perspective, Patriot missile systems and F-35 fighter jets rely on rare earth elements. Apple uses them in iPhone cameras and speakers. Without these elements, the U.S. military and tech industry would be paralyzed. China's power move, a warning to the U.S. Back in 2010, China tested this exact strategy against Japan. When a Chinese fishing boat captain was arrested by Japan, Beijing retaliated by completely cutting off rare earth exports. Japan surrendered immediately and released the captain, knowing that without China's supply, their technology sector would collapse. Trump understands this danger and sees Ukraine's rare earth elements as a way to escape China's grip. By controlling Ukraine's reserves, he hopes to 1. Recover the $500 billion spent on Ukraine. 2. End U.S. dependency on China for critical minerals. But is this plan even realistic? Does Ukraine have enough rare earth elements to truly break the U.S. free from China's dominance? For now, that remains an open question. Subscribe for more deep dives into global politics and technology.